Hi everybody, my name is Cindy and I have been working on some gift tags for my friends, and I thought I would share that with you today and walk through the process of how to do that. And these are little examples of what I've been doing, some pigs, and then I had this little fox, and I thought the fox would be really cute for us to do today. So what you would need would be some heavy-duty paper that will hold water, watercolor paper, anything that would hold that water for you. And I cut some strips out of the papers, and this one is 3 inches by 15. The other thing that you will need are some watercolor paints. I bought this at the Dollar Tree, just something to do simple little crafts. I also got one from Dollar General. I think the one from Dollar General has better pigmentation, better quality. A watercolor pencil. This is really good because when you do the outline, the water will blur it out and you don't have those harsh pencil lines. So this one works out well for that. You will also need a jar of clean water and some paper towel to wipe off your brush or some excess water. A good quality brush is recommended. I got this at a discount store. I was very happy and pleased about that because they can be very expensive. So that works well because it holds the water. The little cheap brushes that come with the paint from Dollar Tree, they don't work really well, but you could probably do a little design with it and get by with it with a little bit of patience. Now you can freehand this little sketch onto this strip if you want, or like today I had to use this because my hands are a little shaky. So this is the 1 by 7/8 circle, and you can put that in there and use this as a guideline for the little head. So what I do is I just make a half circle here on this side on the left and then one on the right. And then I cut out a little tiny dip right here for the nose to come down. And then one over here on the other side. And then up here on the top, I just do a little dip too for between the ears. And this doesn't have to be perfect because the water will blur out these lines with the watercolor pencil, so that makes it really nice. So then I can freehand in the little ears. And you can work with this and go over the lines several times if you want, because it's going to blend later. And the nose on a fox is small, so I just put it in really tiny. That's the key to his little nose. And then you can do a little rough circle around it. And then another little half circle below it. And then you've got your nose. And then you can kind of pull out the sides a little bit more depending on how you want the shape of the head. Then you can just work with this and be creative and just decide how wide you want the nose or how thin you want the nose. I think I have his nose just a little bit thinner than the one in the picture, but I think that's okay because I want to see how that comes out. And you can make these will, they won't come out the same every time, so you can just kind of work with what you have, and sometimes you get better ones and sometimes you don't get such good ones. It's just a matter of how you feel, I guess, in the day. So the eyes, I think of them as Halloween candy, the candy corn. So if you need that as a reference to go by, then you can just use candy corn, I guess. So here is our basic rough draft, and it looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to just go ahead and go with that, and we'll get started. I did forget to mention that sometimes the eyes don't come out perfect when you do your rough draft, but you can always fix it later when you go in with highlight with gel pen, which is what I like to do later. So with this here, you could do any color you want. This one I did orange, and I think I might go ahead and do the orange again. Sometimes you can do blue, pink, whatever you like. So you wet down your brush really good, and then you just come in here and soak the areas, well, not really soak, but just wet down the area that you want to cover with your paint. This will help get it dispersed and make the paint go where you want, and you'll have more control of it. And just don't do the eyes, because we're going to be doing those later. So just go in where you want the paint to be. And I like to keep the nose white for right now. I mean, you can do a color for the nose if you want, but right now you want to keep that dry. And if you want a color, you come in later after everything else is dry. So depending on how deep you want the color, you can use a lot of water in your paint, and that will give you a lighter color, or you can just go really dark with the color. But I like to put it on there and let it do its thing, and it comes out with some pretty brilliant colors if you just let it go. Or just, you know, whatever you want to do, because everything is different, and it seems like with paint and stuff, it never comes out the same, for me anyway. If I do it twice, it never seems to come out the same. And when you have it in where you like it, then you can just set this aside and let it dry. If you want to speed up the drying process, you can do a hair dryer on low setting. It's just whatever you'd like to do on that. Okay, now that this is dried a little bit, you can take just a little bit of water and wet down your paint, because we're going to go in and add a little bit more detail to this, to the ears and the face. This is a little bit flat right now. I did a little bit right here on this ear. Well, I just took the paint. I didn't wet this down, but I just wet down my brush and put a little paint on it. And I want to put a little bit of wisps in here for the hair. And this is just to add a little depth to the picture, because right now it's a little bit flat. So you can add these anywhere you want and however you like. I put a little bit on the ears this time up here. And then you can just darken up the areas you want to be highlighted. And you can even trace around the edge if you want. Whatever you would like to do on that. And wherever it would be darker, like around the edges of the face, put a little highlight here on the brow. Maybe up over the eyes. and down the center of the nose, maybe right here down by the nose to give a little highlight. Just wherever you think it looks good. And then we want to add a little bit of the whiskers here, or hair. And then once you get it where you like it, then you can just set it aside to let it dry again. Okay, now we're going to work on the eyes, and you can do any color you want. I think I'm going to go with the blue again. And what you want to do is make sure that you leave a little highlight, a little white in the eye to make sure that it pops. So when you put in your color, you just make sure that you leave that one spot. So if you wet down the paper with a little bit of water and just leave a little spot there, and you can go in and just leave that little white spot and then go back in with the black. Now, with the black you can actually do gel pen if you want, and that will save you some time. But you also want to do the little white spot in the area you want the color. So like right in here, and you can wet down everything else and just put in your blue. So for the sake of time, I already went ahead and did this first eye, and I will show you the second one here. So you just go in with a little bit of water. I still have color on that paintbrush, but that's okay. Just go back and rinse it. So you want to make sure you keep a small spot for the white. And if the eyes are intimidating, which they can be for me sometimes, and if I don't feel like I can get it right, then I will just go in with gel pen, because you have more control with gel pen anyway. So that might be something that you would prefer to do too. And you can go back later when this dries and touch it up with gel pen as well. Okay, and then you'd let that dry, and then we'll get back to finishing up the eyes. Okay, so now we're dry, and I'm just going to go in and do gel pen for the center. There's just a little bit of a highlight. I wanted a little bit more, but that's okay. It still shows up good. And you can start outlining the eye right there to give it a look and make it pop. And then you do the same thing for the nose as well. Put a little highlight in there and go in and with your black gel pen. And then we can finish up the rest. You just go ahead and do that, and we'll finish up the rest. Okay, so I have the eyes highlighted with the black gel pen and finished up with the nose, and I just started putting on the eyelashes. So with the eyelashes, you can do them any way you want. I like to put a little curl to them and start on the inside with smaller ones and just put a little curve to them and get bigger as you go out, and then do the same thing for the top. And then you have your eyelashes, and then you can go back in and touch up with any paint you want. I put some little wisps of hair on the original, and you can do that by wetting your paintbrush and dipping it in the paint, and you want to have enough water to make it fluid when you do the wisp, and enough paint to get the color you need, and then you can just wisp them out. And you can do this with gel pen or ink pen, whatever you want And you can add extra highlights to the tip of the ears, just whatever you'd like. And then you can go back in and add some highlight to the orange. And I like adding a little black here to, and then some spots for the whiskers. Now he looks like he's got a little bit of a thinner muzzle, but that's okay. It's still cute. It's probably not what I wanted, but at this point it serves my purpose. So you can just touch it up any way you want, add a little bit more highlight with the orange, and then we can put our hole in the top and we'll be done. Another thing I wanted to mention is you can add a little bit of water up in here if you don't like all that bright white, and then come back with a little bit of your orange and just let it fall in there. And you don't have to do this, it's just I like to keep that white down a little bit, and you can just make it really light. Because when it dries it'll lighten up too, but I didn't want all that white, as much white in there. And then you can go back around the nose and highlight some features, or get this nose a little bit darker. You can just touch it up any way you want. I think at this point it's really pretty good for a gift tag, and you can even highlight around the eyes a little bit more if you like. And then you can add some gel pen, black gel pen as a highlighter in the ears. Just kind of dabble with it a little bit, and then you'll be done. Okay, so for the top, I just punch a hole in the top and put ribbon, any ribbon of your choice, whatever you have on hand is good, and just tie it up there, and then you can write whatever you want in there, and there's your gift tag. And I'll show you some of the others I had from previous. Here's another one. As you can see, my nose and they never come out the same, as I said before. So, but that's part of the experimentation on that. And here's a few more that I made, so you can be very creative with them. And there's a little green pig. So if you really like this video, this is my first video that I've done, that I've talked through, and if you like it and have enjoyed it, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I'd really appreciate it. Any comments to help me improve. I don't have really a lot of equipment, but I just do the best I can and show you what I've been dabbling with. Thank you so much, and you have a great day.